My in-laws insisted on hosting a New Year's Eve party for us. We just want to ring in the new year as a family, they claimed. But every toast was about my husband's accomplishments and nothing about me. What he said at midnight changed everything. I never imagined a New Year's Eve party could unravel the very fabric of my marriage. But that night in suburban Ohio, as the clock ticked toward midnight, everything changed. Mark and I had been together for 8 years, building a life filled with shared dreams and mutual respect, or so I thought. As a nurse, my days were long and demanding, but I found fulfillment in caring for others. Mark, a corporate executive, was climbing the ladder of success, and I was proud of him. When his parents, Frank and Diane, insisted on hosting a New Year's Eve party, I hesitated. Past gatherings often turned into showcases of Mark's achievements, with little acknowledgement of anyone else. But Mark assured me it would be different this time. The evening began with warmth and laughter. The house was adorned with festive decorations, and the aroma of home-cooked meals filled the air. Family and friends mingled, sharing stories and toasts. Then came the toasts. Frank raised his glass. To Mark, for securing that big promotion this year. We're so proud of you. Cheers erupted. Diane followed. And to Mark, for being the rock of this family. We couldn't ask for a better son. More applause. I waited, expecting someone to mention our children, or perhaps the community project I led that year. But the toasts continued, each one highlighting Mark's accomplishments, as if no one else existed. As midnight approached, I felt invisible. I glanced at Mark, hoping he'd notice my discomfort. He was engrossed in conversation, oblivious. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. I stood silently, holding my glass, a forced smile on my face. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. Everyone cheered, hugging and exchanging well wishes. Mark turned to me, his eyes gleaming. Sarah, he said, raising his glass, to you, for being the glue that holds us together. A hush fell over the room. All eyes turned to us. I felt a mix of emotions, relief, surprise, and a lingering sting from the earlier omissions. Thank you, I replied, my voice steady. But tonight has shown me that sometimes the glue needs to stop holding things together and start focusing on itself. Gasps echoed. Mark looked stunned. I set down my glass and walked out, the cold night air embracing me as fireworks lit up the sky. When I walked out of that house into the freezing Ohio night, I didn't even feel the cold. All I could feel was heat. In my face, in my chest, in my stomach. Not the good kind. The kind that comes when you realize you've been an extra in your own life for far too long. I sat in the car for a long time. No one came after me. That told me everything. Mark didn't even check on me. The days after were weird. We didn't talk about what happened. At all. It was like the party never happened. He'd kiss me on the cheek in the morning. Ask if I needed anything from the store. Talk about work. I waited for him to say something. Anything. I gave him a week. Then 2. I finally asked him point blank one night while we were cleaning up after dinner. Why didn't you come outside that night? He blinked at me, like I'd asked him what the weather was in Denmark. I didn't think you wanted me to. I laughed. It was sharp. It hurt my own ears. So you just stood there while everyone stared? Watched your wife walk out into the dark and didn't think she might need you. He just shrugged. Shrugged. You always bounce back. And there it was. I always bounce back. I'd always been the one to smooth things over. With his parents. With the kids. At work. When the pipes burst. When the school called. When the dog got sick. When Mark forgot our anniversary 3 years in a row. I bounced. But I was tired. I was so damn tired of bouncing. So I stopped. A week later, my sister-in-law Rebecca, Mark's younger sister, who I actually like, invited me out for coffee. She looked awkward. I wasn't going to say anything, she started. But I think you should know. She showed me her phone. A screenshot. It was from a group chat called Team Mark Clinking Glasses. Frank. Diane. Mark's older brother, Nate. a couple cousins, even one of the neighbors who was at the party. And Mark. They had been planning the New Year's Eve party for weeks. And not just planning, it was a celebration of Mark. Literally. Someone had called it Mark's year-end review. They'd even coordinated the toasts. Each person had picked a topic. Mark's job, his role as a dad, his community work, which I had mostly done for him, his strength through Sarah's emotional phases. Yes, that was one. There were memes, jokes, even a gif of someone rolling their eyes with the caption, "Wait for Sarah to make it about her." I sat there staring at that phone like it was a grenade. "I'm sorry," Rebecca whispered. I didn't know it was this bad until I saw the full thread. I said nothing. I just nodded. I couldn't speak. But inside, something cracked. A few days later, I got a Facebook message from someone named Ellie G. I almost deleted it. It looked like spam. But something made me click. Ellie had gone to college with Mark. She'd seen a post from Diane about the party and saw my name tagged. Her message said, "Hi, Sarah. You don't know me, but I think your husband might not be the person you think he is. If you're open to it, I can tell you why." She left her number. I stared at that number for a long time. Then I called. What she told me changed everything. Ellie had dated Mark in college. Nothing serious. They broke up when she graduated. But they stayed in touch, mostly because Mark kept reaching out. Texting. Flirting. Saying he wasn't really happy in his relationship. She told him to back off. He didn't. She blocked him. Years later, out of nowhere, he messaged her on LinkedIn. Said he was still thinking about her. That he felt like they had unfinished business. She ignored it. Then she found out he'd done the same thing to at least 2 other women from their class. All of them had thought he was just being friendly until the messages got personal. I was shaking by the time she finished. I thanked her, hung up, and I sat on my kitchen floor, alone in my robe, for over an hour. My mind felt like it was exploding in slow motion. I didn't want to believe it, but I did. Mark wasn't just someone who overlooked me. He was someone who didn't see me at all. No, I didn't blow up his life that night. I didn't storm into his office or throw his things out onto the lawn. But I did start planning. I started pulling documents, saving screenshots, contacting a lawyer I knew from a patient's family. Quiet, private. I started therapy. Just me, not couples counseling, not working on us. Just me. I took walks. I wrote things down. I wrote down everything I remembered from the past 8 years that didn't sit right, but I'd brushed off. There were a lot of pages. One night, Mark came home to find I hadn't made dinner. I'd ordered Chinese. For me. Just me. He looked confused. "You okay?" I nodded. "I'm learning how to be." About a month after the party, I was at our neighborhood book club. It's mostly women from the area, nurses, teachers, retired folks, some of the younger moms too. We drink wine and pretend to talk about books. That night, the conversation shifted. Someone brought up family drama, and suddenly we were all trading stories about in-laws. I stayed quiet until someone, Mallory, who lives 2 streets over, leaned in and said, "You're Sarah, right? Married to Mark?" I nodded slowly. She blinked, clearly unsure if she should go on. "I don't want to stir anything," she said, "but I think you should know something about your husband and Kelly." Kelly. Our neighbor. Married. 2 kids. PDA queen. Apparently, a few months back, Kelly had been very friendly with Mark at a community fundraiser. Flirty. Standing too close. Whispering. Mallory didn't think anything of it until she saw them leaving the parking lot at the same time. 15 minutes apart from the crowd. Different direction. Then another woman piped up. "Wait, Kelly." She laughed. She used to be real cozy with my husband's coworker, too. Seems to have a thing for attached men. I didn't say anything. I just sat there, swirling wine in my glass, pretending I hadn't just gotten gut-punched for the 3rd time in 2 weeks. I went home and sat in our bathroom with the shower running, just staring at the tiles. I wasn't sad. I was clear. Things were worse than I thought, and I needed proof. Yes, he had a second phone. I didn't find it by snooping. I found it by accident. He left a gym bag in the trunk of our car. I was looking for jumper cables when I saw it, tucked into a side pocket. Burner style. No case. Older model. My hands were shaking when I powered it on. No password. The messages were there. Dozens. Texts with Kelly. Texts with someone named C. I still don't know who that is. Nothing super graphic, but emotional cheating at best. Flirty messages. Inside jokes. A comment about how I take everything too seriously and can't just enjoy the moment anymore. I took photos of every message. I didn't cry. I didn't even feel sad. Just quiet. Like the part of me that used to fight for him had finally stopped trying. You'd think the worst was over. Nope. Diane found out I'd been asking around. Probably from Rebecca. And instead of confronting me directly, she went nuclear in her passive-aggressive way. She sent a group email. To family. To friends. Even to some of our neighbors. It was titled, A Time for Grace and Forgiveness. She didn't use my name. She didn't have to. It was basically a 6-paragraph poem about loyalty, unity, and the heartbreak of watching a good man be torn down by bitterness. She said real women build up their men, not humiliate them. She said New Year's was a reminder of how quickly envy poisons love. And then, the kicker, Mark has always been loyal, despite being under constant emotional pressure. I hope people see the full picture before passing judgment. I read it 3 times. My hands were shaking. She made me sound like a monster. A jealous, irrational wife trying to sabotage her perfect son. I didn't reply, but Rebecca did. She hit reply all and wrote, Actually, Mom, I think people should see the full picture. Especially the part where you and the family organized a party to praise Mark and humiliate Sarah. She's the one who's been holding it all together, not the other way around. Silence. For days. Then, one by one, people started texting me. Not with pity. With support. Quiet. Hesitant. But it came. At this point, I had screenshots of the family group chat photos of the burner phone messages, testimonies from neighbors and friends, my own journal, detailing every gaslight moment over 8 years. I gave it all to my lawyer. Quietly. No drama. Just facts. I told him I wasn't sure what I wanted yet. But I needed the truth in writing, ready to go. And now? Now I'm planning something. Not petty. Not public. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's when you let someone destroy their own image using their own words. And you just hand them the mirror. I didn't tell Mark I knew. Not right away. I waited until our anniversary. 8 years of marriage. A full circle. He made reservations at some fancy steakhouse. Wore a navy blazer. Had flowers delivered to my job that morning. I showed up in a black dress. Calm. Quiet. He thought I was softening. We made it through appetizers. Drinks. Light talk. Then, as the main course landed on the table, I slid a manila envelope across the white linen tablecloth. What's this? He asked, laughing a little. Are you giving me an anniversary card in a file folder? I didn't speak. He opened it. Inside, printouts of the burner phone texts, screenshots of the Team Mark group chat photos of him and Kelly leaving the fundraiser together. Yes, a neighbor had snapped them. The lawyer's letter with my name on it, a draft of the custody agreement, my financial separation terms. He turned pale. Then read. Then nothing. Just blank. You planned this? I nodded. The same way you planned that party. I moved out 2 days later. Took the kids. Filed the paperwork. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't make a scene. I let the facts do all the talking. People started finding out. Kelly's husband? Filed for divorce. He also shared his own screenshots. Turns out she was cheating on him with not just Mark, but at least one other guy. Diane? Lost it. She begged me not to destroy the family. I told her the family destroyed itself. She showed up at my work crying, literally sobbing in the hospital parking lot. You don't have to do this, she said. I looked her dead in the eyes. You did this. You and your perfect son. She left in silence. I wasn't just angry. I was ashamed. Ashamed that I let it go on for so long, that I convinced myself being quiet was the same as being strong, that I let myself disappear little by little because I was afraid of shaking things up. That's on me. I let people treat me like background noise. And once you start fading, people stop looking for you. So I did the hardest thing of all. I forgave myself. Then I made a choice. I would never be that version of me again. Mark's company found out. How? Someone anonymously sent the burner phone screenshots to HR, including the messages with Kelly. The jokes about clients. The messages where he called a female coworker a thirsty sad sack. No, it wasn't me. But I knew who it was. Rebecca. She didn't even tell me. I found out when Mark called me 3 weeks later. Voice shaking. They're forcing me to resign, he said. I might lose my license. They think I'm a liability. He wanted sympathy. All I said was, you built this. Don't cry when it comes crashing down. He hung up. Kelly moved. Quietly. One day she was there. The next her house was empty. Diane started going to a different church. Word got around. People whispered. She still posts long-winded Bible verses about grace and being misunderstood. Nobody comments anymore. Mark? Last I heard, he moved into a rental in Gahanna. Lost half his retirement in the split. Had to sell his Tesla. The Team Mark group chat? Gone. Just silence now. I'm good. No, I'm great. I got the house. Full custody. Started traveling. Started painting again. Got invited to speak at a women's health conference. Took a solo trip to Oregon. I didn't stay bitter. But I also didn't forget. And if you're wondering whether I regret how I ended it, not even a little. Because revenge doesn't have to be petty. Sometimes, the best revenge is just living well after you burn the whole rotten foundation down.